I can't think of anyone better who exemplifies this ethos of building than our next speaker. And I feel very privileged to be able to introduce him. Leo Reyes is the global head of data science at WPP, which is one of the world's largest media and communications companies. And he and his team have been, for years now, building hundreds of AI-powered apps in Domino that have been providing competitive marketing insights to global brands like Google, like Amazon, like Coca-Cola. And Leo and his team have really been, I think, living in the future. And it's a real privilege for us to have him here today to share some of his perspective and his wisdom. So please join me in welcoming Leo, along with Domino's Chief Operating Officer, Thomas Robinson.
Leo, thanks for joining us. Thanks for coming up to tell us your story. So first, why don't we start with, for those who don't know, who is WPP? What do they do? What do you do? Who are your clients? Yeah, tell us a little bit of the background.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, as Nick said, WPP is probably one of the largest communication and marketing companies in the world. But I think for me, it comes really quite tactile. If anyone who has ever watched TV or read news or going to the cinema, probably you have seen one of our WPP's advertisements on because we work with the most iconic brands, as Nick have said. And those iconic brands are not only of global footprint, but actually in the local markets. For example, here in the UK, we work for EE, supermarkets like Tesco, which are quite iconic for where we live. But the same can be said for Singapore, for Japan, for where we operate. So we do touch a lot of lives where our daily work for the clients we operate for. And then one of the kind of most important things and why we're working with Domino, why I'm sitting here and Domino has been our most important partners, is that this marketing at the moment is a data-driven decision. As not always has been. It was kind of more this strategic type of data. And actually what we do for our clients is not managing data. That was a byproduct of what we wanted to do with our clients, which really put us in a position to care a lot about it and how we would operationalize it.
It's great.
Yeah.
As somebody who watches TV, I'm sure I've seen your ads.
Yeah.
I'm sure I've been targeted. They're getting really good.
Yeah.
So let's go back a little bit, because WPP has grown from a lot of different organizations coming together, and you started at Essence, which came into Choreograph, and Choreograph came into WPP. So tell us about how the organization has grown, and then what the implications have been for how data science and AI has become part of the future vision of the company and sort of where it grew from.
Yeah, absolutely. WPP has gone through different layers of evolution and adapting to what's happening with our culture and the new technology. WPP started back in the 80s, quite focused on capitalizing on the strategic value of the different companies were doing good advertising at the time. Martin Sore was the founder, and he was quite a firm believer that the value of WPP was to provide different brands and different ways of doing marketing that was connected to highlighting certain value. So some companies focus on PR, so focusing more on the creative. Others focus more on providing full service, or focus on the digital side of the business. This provided a really healthy ecosystem for different companies to just take whatever they want. It was quite modular, but the world has moved so much from that point until we are now. Technology, big data, AI, the pandemic, just basically capitalize and put a push in this industry. I love to work in marketing and in advertising because we're one of those industries that when things shift in our civilization, we are at the forefront of the consequence of that, for good and for bad. So that has created for us to really look into this organization saying that, well, given where we're going and the demands of our clients, we need to set up ourselves to be more centralized, very structured. And that has been my story through WPP in advertising. I started in life sciences. I have a PhD in eco-hydrology, which basically we work with a lot of chaotic data to explain very complex ecosystems. And that training helped me a lot to work in this industry. First part of my work was actually training on what media is, because I didn't know anything about it. Then capitalizing on that information And then through Essence, it was all about the model, about digital performance, about brand lift, and we're very good at doing that. Then we build a lot of really interesting applications. You guys help us with that. And then we say, okay, well, we need to industrialize this a little bit more. We need to be able to share our good work with MediaCom, with Mansion, with all the different agencies that exist in WPP. And that the Corga became that kind of powerhouse on industrializing and productizing. Now we're in this new stage in which we are attempting to change how marketing operates, given how AI is very transformative. And that has been a process of consolidation, simplification, and just building a lot of advantages for our clients.
Yeah. So said another way, shifting from a universe of distinct brands to an integrated organization, I presume that makes, while it may give you some simplification, it also increases data volumes and either gives you more opportunity or harder things to solve. Maybe tell us a little bit about that.
It is a fine line to walk because we still want to provide distinctiveness, but we want to provide security, scalability, and transparency. So you need to look left and right at the same time. So it's not an easy process. It's taking us years to arrive here, but we're really close to showcase and we're in that point of seeing already what we can do to provide these to our clients.
Yeah, that's great. So I believe we want to hear about your most exciting AI project.
Absolutely, yes.
I think you have prepared a video to share with us.
Yes, absolutely. Just before we jump into the video, this project is called Open Intelligence, and it's something that has occupied a lot of my life in the last couple of years, but it's something we are really obsessed in WPP, because as I was saying before, for some reason we end up being custodians of data, even though that was not really what we're doing, but because of nature of it, we own all this data and say, well, we have all this data and it has a lot of value, but what is really the value in just having the data or actually highlighting the intelligence? So it's like we're switching from being custodians to orchestrating the intelligence of that data. So through the you're see how that's been done, and hopefully we can talk a little bit more about it.
Cool.
It's time to fuel business growth in the AI era. Time to unlock the full power of data from anywhere and everywhere. Introducing Open Intelligence. Open Intelligence turns trillions of data signals into predictive, actionable intelligence, so you can perform in every channel, every market, and with every consumer globally. This is unparalleled data collaboration across your data, WPP data, and the data of 350-plus global partners and platforms, even walled gardens. It's always on. Predictive intelligence activated everywhere, refined in real time by the results it drives, creating the world's most sophisticated feedback loop. And because privacy is non-negotiable, data never moves, protecting customer trust and business differentiation. The intelligence powers every part of your marketing mix. Owned, earned, shared, and paid. This is predictive intelligence that drives real performance. This is intelligence beyond ID.
All right, great. I'm really looking forward to this conversation because as somebody who buys software and services, I often see a 1-minute video, and then there you're going to tell me actually what it does and actually how it works.
Absolutely.
So let's go into that a little bit. So from a customer perspective, what do customers want and what does Open Intelligence do for that? And then we can get into the technology and
yeah, actually, I love that question because it is a paradox. If we're always in contact with the customers, we are obsessed to hear from them, which is just basically how the industry has always worked in marketing. We do a lot of focus groups and that type of thing. And if you ask anybody on the streets of London, it's like, what do you think about advertisement? Oh no, I hate it, it's the worst type of thing. I say, okay, but are there any ads you like? Oh yeah, I like this ad because I actually, if they are very meaningful, if they are really about what I like, and if it really talks to me, I actually really like them. So we're in this paradox that everyone wants really good quality experience through advertisement, but they don't want to share any of the data, right? And this is a big paradox because the only way I can speak to you and my brand to be meaningful to you is to know a little bit who you are, right?
Yep.
So it is something we're wrapping with, and that is specifically what we're trying to connect with open intelligence. We want to stop forgetting about one ID, one person who can be tracked down and be very obstructive, to start working on the world of concepts, on the world of opportunities. So when we say, well, we would like to know a group, a cohort of people, we don't know who they are. We want to know if they are really interested in technology, if they are really interested in electric cars, or if they really also like cheese and cats. And this
All
creates...
of the above.
Exactly, yeah. It depends. Our brands have some very complex requirements. Some are quite simple, some are not. We have our clients like, my targeting audience is families that use internet. Well, straightforward.
Yep.
Other brands are like, no, I want someone who has all these different requirements in this specific moment in time, in this specific location, so we need to go really deep. So Open Intelligence has allowed us to get all this, and imagine how much data you need to do that one. And you can imagine how that data, they don't align with each other, right? We start, it's not that we don't like IDs, we need to work with IDs. IDs have enabled our industry, but we also know the limitations of those IDs. We know those IDs decay, we know those IDs need to be tailored, and sometimes business require the predictability and the connection, really, if you want, for example, if you want to say to someone, well, you were our customer, your contract is expiring, you need to know who the person is, right?
Yep.
And that's very important, but we know that connecting that person to what they do, what they like, what they do online, what they do offline, requires blending a lot of data. It cannot just be blended through IDs. You need to do it through concepts, and that has been the big enabler of AI for this industry. We're swapping, instead of us trying to adapt to IDs, which is a tool, we're taking the tool and adapting it to this world complexity, so we can enable more precise, higher value, high effectiveness for our clients.
That's great. So open intelligence is the substrate on which you customize the work you do for every particular customer, but it has the fundamentals of mapping target audience to specific people and then helping with delivery. Is that sort of the way?
Yes, so that's why we call it intelligence, because it's orchestratable intelligence that connects discoverability, value, performance, and activation in one layer. So what is very exciting about this is that it's not static. It learns, it grows, it develops. So the more you use this platform, the more you're starting to learn what works, what doesn't work, what's going to work today, what can work tomorrow. And we have designed this to be privacy first. We have designed this to keep working with the data of our clients. They don't need to move their data to work with open intelligence. We move the intelligence where our client requires it to be moved. Sometimes they come to us, as they have done traditionally, but we are organizing ourselves to move our intelligence where it's required.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about, before we get into maybe technology or AI, tell me a little bit about how your team works. I suppose you must work jointly with a customer and maybe an account team to solve a specific problem. So it's not providing a generic service, you're actually tailoring to
so part of what we're doing with WPP is just to organize all those entry points. We have PR, we have consultancy, we have creative, and we have the core WPP media, which is just traditional advertisement. So, and there are different points of entry for our clients. Some clients might start with a consultancy piece to be, let's say, digital transformation in the business, and then it's like, oh, okay, so if you help us to build this, like, oh, we'd like to do this campaign, do you know about this? And then we would bring the media crews. So we have established now ways that we build teams to adapt to our clients. So we get the crew, we see what they require, and then we just create a mini organization on the back of that. And that's when technology like Domino has been fundamental for us, because we can adapt to those requirements. So we have a group of data scientists, strategists, practitioners, media, consultants, all type of different, and that's how we operate. Yeah. It's quite modular and quite flexible to the requirements of our clients.
Great. So let's talk a little bit about the technology and ways you use data science and AI. I suppose there's a big data challenge, and then you probably have some predictive ML to build basic signals, and you're also adopting generative AI as sort of it's of the moment, and maybe we saw a little bit of that in the video. So talk to me about those. What are those problems sort of throughout the process? Yeah,
so historically we have different challenges we need to face. When I was started in this industry, the big problem was the big data. specifically because marketing and advertisement did not have traditionally people with my education and what I've done. So they were like, well, we were very good at strategy. We really can tell a good story, but we really don't understand how to do multivariate statistics or how to translate a statistical report that is very bland into a deck that actually brings it clearly to the client on an action. So that's we started there, like how we get all this data, how we organize an instruction in a way that we can provide value quick. And as we say, when Nick we're talking about the value of the model, I really lived through that. I remember it was the type of the Kaggle competition, a little bit gray hair now, but Kaggle competition was an obsession of the industry. You want to be number one Kaggler, and they were like having these crazy jobs. And everyone wanted 1% more. The model was the obsession because the model was an abstraction of the value of the data. Then we reached to a moment, okay, yeah, models are great, and our clients are happy to see these models doing a fantastic stuff, but how do we scale this? How do we go from having one amazing model working for one specific client, then now I can send it, so how one model from Singapore can be applied in London or in New York, and then we found a problem there, because those models are very good, but very highly customizable.
I see.
And that's when I started to look for a solution that can help me connect a global network of data scientists who can collaborate somehow. Yeah. And some were using AWS, some was in GCP, some was in Azure, some using just their own laptops. So it was a vast ecosystem of independent agencies, and that was very complex to navigate. So that was kind of the second challenge. We talk a little bit about the third challenge was about the scalability and industrialization. We did happen from a really engineering software background. We happen in Choreograph. It was really helpful to bring all those and bake them into products. A lot of our solutions built early with Domino are now fully fledged products. They have evolved. They are not anymore hosting. Some of them are still hosting Domino, but the majority became products themselves. So that actually really helped to the enhancement of the product org. And now with AI, really our biggest obsession and through open intelligence is really what I call a scalable AI quality.
Okay.
Anyone can build apps, as we're saying. Anyone can use AI, but not all the organizations are ready to provide quality AI outputs or reproducible quality AI outputs. And that's the obsession that is really spending a lot of the time now in WPP. We jumped really quickly into the AI wagon, and jumping quickly was also finding the errors quickly, the pitfalls, the big mistakes where things didn't work out that well. So we see the potential, but now we're absolutely 100% convinced that governance and quality is the next step to really capitalize on the AI value.
I love this. This is like the story of some other industries. Maybe financial services has been through this a few decades ago, and it's interesting to see advertising go through the same story. So quality for you means accuracy, fewer errors. Yeah. That's really where it sits.
That for sure, but that's just 101. I think our obsession is transparency.
Okay.
There is a big request from our clients to not only see a clever model or a clever insight, but understand how we arrived to there. And that's difficult. Yeah. It's difficult to really go from your client like, we advise you to go after this target with this following message because we have connected the dots with your data, and we found out this. And having that transparency is fundamental for our competitive advantage because that creates trust. And once the trust is there, we can grow really far with our clients. Yeah. And for me, something specifically about governance. Governance for me is like designing doors. I'm obsessed with this story about how doors are designed and how some very poorly designed doors really frustrate users. But
Norman doors.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
I had one yesterday.
Great, there you go. Yeah, okay, I'm the only one, and I'm not obsessed with that. For me, governance is like designing doors. Yeah. Governance, I tell this to my leaders in WPP. Governance should be like a door you never know is there. That you flow and you didn't know that it was there, but when you need to go back, it's blocking and it's organizing. So this is how we try to work with governance. I care about governance and I'm obsessed about it, but my data scientists, my client teams, they shouldn't even worry or care. They should just deliver their work, and the governance is going to work for them.
Yeah. So how do you embody that, turning it from bad doors to good thresholds? Maybe is the.
Well, I was thinking like with Domino, we're building the highways long before we needed the highways, right? So that has a lot. We started with the proposition of. I was talking about this, and I remember at the time my colleagues were like, "Leo, why do we care about this?" I just want to bring this up to my client and sell this product tomorrow. I don't care to the transparency, but because I come from a scientific background, I know that 90% of my logs and what I'm tracking what works is for me to learn. If I don't track, I don't know what went wrong. Even if it's working, I don't know why. But because the dynamic of agency world and marketing, sometimes we didn't have time to really track down everything. So that's why I was like, well, don't worry, you need to track it down. I track it out for you. And that whole hard work has really helped us to really grow and go to the next level. Yeah.
That's great. Let's talk a little bit about generative AI.
Yeah.
So my external observation is in marketing and advertising. There's been a huge push on the creative side for adopting generative AI as
Absolutely.
sort of tools for creative. And then you're coming from a world over the past several years of building a very great predictive ML core. So what is the generative AI story for data science and at WPP?
Yeah, no, it's quite interesting. I think going back to what I said at first, I think our obsession with generative AI is to provide delightful experiences through the brands we work for.
Yeah.
We always knew that delightness comes from the users getting some emotional response and connectiveness that it speaks to them, but that's really hard to do at scale.
Yeah.
Right? We tried to do it manually. There was this project that we worked called Pegasus many years ago, in which we worked with a lot of publishers, and we told them, we want to be privacy first. We don't want to try what people are doing. So please, every single new article you publish online, send it to us first. So we can analyze it, we can understand what the content is about, and we have these ginormous matrices of templates of advertising ready to go. So as soon as I say, okay, this is an article about rum, olive oil, this creative, this come together. And it was so huge that actually Google told us, please stop uploading this in the server, you're killing it.
Yeah.
And we're like, wow, but we need it because we don't know what's gonna come. So that was kind of that first kind of milestones we did in the generative AI. That we don't need to go through these massive matrices that need to be pre-built. We can now go to the model and say like, okay, we have this kind of, let's say cohort, this requirement, these are your stylistic direction, these are the brand safety, this is how you operate. Please give me a 3D bottle that has this consolidation. And that what quality is super important because anyone can create an AI image, but sometimes it comes with three legs or the bottles are a little bit wonky and the brand safety and brand governance is something that's really important for us. So that's why those models in generative have taken a while to pick up because we're obsessed with the quality, but that's just going to enhance how we touch points and we be more creative and delight our audiences. And actually, the creative teams are really keen on that.
Yeah.
We thought creativity is something that people get worried about AI. I believe that good ethical AI can enhance the creative processes and can give our creative colleagues far more opportunities to bring some excellent ideas to the table.
Yeah. Nick, in his keynote, touched on a little bit how coding assistants are helping folks who are maybe traditionally doing data science work also be developers, and that many non-developers are using coding assistants to build their own tools. Is your team doing that as they go work with clients and account teams? Has that been helpful?
Yeah, I think it's been transformational.
Yeah.
There were a couple of stages in that one. So the models were released, and we were like, look, we were such a huge network, more than 10,000 employees. We 100% sure they're going to be using AI.
Yeah.
There's no question about it.
Yep.
So very quickly, I remember because it was one of the apps we had in Domino really early. It's like, let's put as many models, we pay for it, we put the tokens, let's give someone so they stop putting stuff that is conditional for our clients publicly, right? Yeah. So first level, okay, let's containment. Second level was like, okay, now let's provide them the tools. Let's give them like an app store of apps. And that was going well across the whole group of WPP employees. But when the cloud assistant come, that really helped us to go to the next level. For that, we needed a layer of safety and a layer of control because the tokens can get quite out of control. And we have that control in the UI. But now we have provided the model, we provided the assistant, and they have the data all governed. So we have as safe spaces in which they can try their ideas, they can polish their apps, we can monitor, we can govern them, and when everything is as it should be, then it brought to a space of production. So we were able to connect, for example, the open intelligence data, in which I very quickly create a map. I create an experimental design to prove a theory from a client, and very well. And in our next session, one of our lead data scientists, he's going to showcase how we actually need to build an app on the fly to showcase the strategy for one of our biggest clients. And it was great that within 2 days we're able to build the app, and then the client could see full transparency in connecting all these disparate data sets. And that's where the value comes from, being able to build this with security.
That's great. We share that belief that in the future everybody gets custom for what they want, but it has good background guardrails.
I still see these two forces, right? There are people who see like this stream of AI stuff coming, and the more risk-averse people of the business are like, we need to build bigger dams, bigger walls. We just need to keep it out. There's other people that say, like, well, we cannot stop it. Instead of trying to build bigger dams, let's try to encode the current. Let's try to create safe spaces, right? I'm one or the second, and I'm trying to convince more of my colleagues and people in the industry that we just cannot keep building bigger walls. We just need to encode it and provide safe spaces. And I think that's a big differentiation.
We'll maybe close on one more question. So you've been a data science and AI leader for many years. We have many data science and AI leaders here. Words of wisdom, words of advice, maybe especially in this new era.
Yes, I think like really fall in love with governance. I know it's not very popular.
It's popular here at Domino.
Yes, no, I think I'm talking to the right, but make sure people understand and fall in love with governance, because that's really going to enhance. And as I say, is just design governance like designing the best door you can feel. Make it easy. Change use marketing to change behaviors. Governance shouldn't be something that is horrible and boring. It should be something people should really say, yes, this is going to enable us. That's number one. Second, definitely obsess on scalability. Like the edge of the data science unicorns is gone. You cannot scale unicorns. We still need them, but we need to still bring the unicorns. They are quite important. But what you need to is get the unicorn knowledge and find ways to scale that across, so everyone can become a little bit of a unicorn. So I think that is the second big. And I think the third bit, which is something what we're doing, is it's going to be difficult. But how you move your intelligence from your safe ecosystem to other touch points, and don't do it alone. Use strong partnerships. Work with other people to try to find those spaces, which is actually, as an industry, I'm seeing with good eyes, specifically on the open space of the AI, like common formats of connecting agents, common formats of having tables that agents speak better. So definitely participate on those, because they're going to be quite a competitive advantage for the future.
That's great. Leo, thank you so much for sharing your story and
absolutely
sharing some wisdom. And I'm really excited for better targeted ads.
Absolutely.
More cycling ads from me.
Okay, I'll make that note. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.